Hey guys, it's Morgan and
Thomas.
Coming to you with the next video in the YZ144 build. Thomas is down here helping me. We're going to start putting this thing back together. The motor's completely rebuilt. All the bearings in the chassis have been replaced or greased. Actually, I think they've all been replaced. Anyway, TBT, Brady met her at TBT, Oklahoma. Completely went through, refreshed the suspension and valved it specifically for Thomas. Now it's time to put this thing together. So Thomas is going to help me do this. We're going to start by putting the motor in the frame. I'm going to set you guys down over here and we're going to get to work. Pick that up.
Let's find out. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I thought it was yours.
So they're in here. Good.
Clamp my fingers down.
Okay, now put the other bolt in before we tighten that down.
Okay.
So guys, if you're watching this, we're going to get these motor mount bolts both in before we tighten anything down, because you might have to kind of wiggle the motor a little bit to get them in there. Now we're still not going to tighten these all the way down because the last, well, we've got the head stays, but those have plenty of wiggle room in them. But we got to get the swing arm in here, and that pivot bolt sometimes can be a little bit tight, so you might have to wiggle the motor there too. So I'm just going to get them snug up so they can't come loose. That's very good. Alright, so we got our grease because all the bearings have been cleaned and greased, actually all replaced, and they're all super greased and happy, whatever. And that's actually what pivots the bearings. But I always put grease on the bolts because a couple reasons. One, if the bearing seize up at any time in the future, it'll at least still pivot on this. Also, it keeps this from rusting. So, just like that. There it is. There you go. Sometimes you gotta hold it. Sometimes you gotta hold the socket.
So these are.
Yeah, just.
Alright. What's next?
Alright, so we got the linkage. The dog bone in. Let's tighten this thing up. So you need to go grab a 19 millimeter wrench.
That's cool. We just went at.
Next, we're gonna put the I call it the tri-link. That thing.
Little triangle looking thing.
Hey!
Oh, wow.
What's happening?
What are you doing here, sir?
Buy Thomas's Christmas present.
You're lucky that we're even
Say
here.
hello to the camera.
Yeah. Hey
Howdy.
everybody, that's Elijah. He's from Fridays. We'll put a link in the description for their channel.
Go sub to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
The blue one?
Yes.
Dang, not a Just gonna go look.
So we just heard something make noise outside. We both were relatively sure it was unit crashing, but it's not.
He's all good.
All right, go grab that shock. No, it's down. There you go. And then it's like that. Come up. First. For you.
Thank you, Brady.
Yeah, thank you, Brady Metter.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, if you want to hold that.
We heard that and I was like, oh.
Ewan, come say out on the camera. Come over here. That's my kid, Ewan. You guys know him from such hits as All the Crashes.
I can't remember.
Oh, here. That's... Oh, here. That'll work. So, the carburetor has been hanging out for months now, so we're going to put this in the ultrasonic and get it all cleaned up, too. All right. Now you guys can see us work on the front end.
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Spreadman, grab those forks.
These ones right here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, should I grab
So, those are cables. Don't worry about those right now. Doesn't matter either one. Just yeah, there you go. All right, so guys, quick little tech tip here. So I just replaced the steering head bearings earlier today, so I didn't film that. It was just a whole lot of hammering and bang. Anyway, but when you're doing the front end of a bike, when you're putting the suspension on and the triple clamps and everything, you want to leave this stuff loose when you go in. So we're going to slide these forks up in here, and we're just going to tighten down the bottom triple clamps so that we can then torque the top, get it all set up, then tighten the top triple clamps so that everything moves like it's supposed to. All right, so slide that thing in there.
How?
Yeah, but it comes from this up. That's okay. These don't need to be here. So when you're here, let me show you something, guys. When you're working on a pinch mechanism like this, when you tighten one bolt, it pinches the whole thing, and it can make this top bolt loose. So you come back and hit that one, then hit. Kind of go back and forth until they're both the same. So, like I said, we're only going to do the bottom pinch bolts on these triple clamps. Then we're going to tighten down the top, and then we'll raise them, get them right in the right spot, and tighten everything down. All right, go grab the other one, bud. These bottoms spin. All right, so guys, I haven't torqued this top castle nut. I'm not going to do it by the book because you really don't need to. What you want is it tight enough that it doesn't move like this. It doesn't have any play, but loose enough that it still moves freely. So I'm going to grab a hammer and a punch. All right, we're going to go down a little bit. Make sure that moves nice. That actually feels pretty good. Now we're going to take the top nut down, and because these are still loose, the whole triple clamp can come down where it needs to be, then afterwards we'll come in and tighten these up. But also, when you take this down, sometimes that can preload that bearing a little too much, and then you got to back off and get it dialed in. So Tom's going to grab a 30mm socket, so that's going to be the big ones up top right. Feel that? Looks pretty good. It might be a little tight, so let's loosen that up just a little bit. So that was a little bit too tight. So I'm going to back the castle nut off again just with the punch. All right, that feels good. Now, yes, there are torque specs for all that, but honestly, I've done this so long, that is a huge waste of time sitting there, because it ends up being that you have to fiddle with it anyway. And also, these are brand new bearings, brand new races, so it's probably going to break in a little bit after he rides it for a little bit, so we may have to change it anyway. So now that we got that tightened down, we know this is where it needs to be, this way, we can loosen up these bottom bolts, get these forks set where we want them, and then tighten everything down. So grab that 10 mil. All right, guys. So we got the electrical back on. I love it. So here's the entire electrical system of this bike is comprised of a stator that makes power for spark, wires that come up to a harness, a CDI that tells it when to spark, and an ignition coil, and then there'll be, a kill switch up here. That's it. It is beautiful. I absolutely love that.
Let's just keep working all night. I don't want to go home and do homework. This is so much more fun.
I would love to say that we could do that.
We can. On your finger. No, just kidding.
So guys, this is one of those things that happens when you're restoring, rebuilding an older bike. This bolt right here, as I was tightening it down, was just stripped. So But that's okay. Good thing is it's not all the way back together and everything like that. We can just pop that thing off. So I think we're going to shut this thing down right now, guys.
No.
What?
No. I said no.
I know. Mainly, these guys don't want to stop working, which is awesome. But mainly they don't want to stop working because that means they have to go home and do homework.
Well, I'd rather do this than homework.
Well, and this is way cooler than homework, but I'm just giving them a hard time. But that means I'm going to have to come back in here, put a helicoil in the frame and get that done. But, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we'll be finishing this thing up probably in the next video. I'm going to probably wait till we get the tires and the mooses in here. Then we'll check in with the next video. We'll get this thing finished up. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this video. We hope you liked it. And I desperately hope that you guys get out, you spread the gospel of two wheels. And I hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your